Uther the Lightbringer is the wisest and most noble paladin from the Warcraft universe. Starting off life as a knight, he rose to paladinship when he infused the light with his combat. While the Paladins saw success in Azeroth, how would the evils of Lordran react to a lore-accurate Uther the Lightbringer? Let's find out. Alright, what do we got here? Alright, build I'm used to, looking good. Grant, never used that before, should go crazy. And the Paladin armor, I get it right after Grant. Looks good. I feel like I did a good job of creating Uther. Dark Souls has such amazing customization for most features, but they have almost nothing for beards. I had to just make a little stubble and that's it. Anyways, on with the gameplay. One thing I noticed right off the rip, Uther's from Lordran, and Dark Souls 1 takes place in Lordran. A very nice coincidence. I came to Firelink with a plan. The key feature to a paladin is purging the lands with divine strength. This means I need a divine weapon. This regular mace ain't gonna cut it. Not one bit, let me tell you. I need two things, the Divine Ember and a singular green Titanite shard to ascend my normal lame mace to a truly divine weapon. I made my way through the catacombs with relative ease. I only needed to get to the ledge before you drop down to Vamos. There's a singular green Titanite shard there. After I got my shard, I needed my Divine Ember. The Divine Ember is after the Moonlight Butterfly in the Darkroot Garden, so I'll need to get over there. Since I chose the Master Key as my starting gift, I just need to take a couple elevators to the Valley of Drakes and up through the Darkroot Garden. The only thing standing between me and my Divine Mace is this Moonlight Butterfly. What you're witnessing here is 11 minutes straight of Moonlight Butterfly kill. I wouldn't put my worst enemy through this again. I'm sure I'm going to end up doing this in the future, unfortunately. This was rough, though. I secured my Divine Ember, leveled up quite a bit, and absolutely started cranking my faith. I gave Andre my Divine Ember and went out to farm Titanite shards. I wanted to ascend my mace to Divine prior to returning to Firelink. With my Divine Mace in hand, I can now start the game! Uther started his career as a knight prior to being a paladin and leading the Knights of the Silver Hand. I thought it would be appropriate to start off with the Elite Knight set. I couldn't even medium roll with the chest on, so I had to forego that. We're just going with gloves and pants for now. It was time for the Taurus Demon. I was hitting the Taurus Demon very hard with my new Divine Mace. Infused with light, I was dealing 179 damage a blow. He went down very cleanly. Knowing I was going to have very heavy equip load between Grant and the Paladin armor, I knew I needed Havel's Ring to help. I cracked open the watchtower door, engaged Havel. Havel went down surprisingly easy. Ah! Just kidding, I got one tapped. After taking out Havel, I got his ring, which would boost my equip load multiplicatively. I began leveling strength since I was already at the faith requirements for Grant. After progressing to the rest of the burg, I busted out Lautrec and sent him on his own trek, a long one. I kicked him off the edge. I then leveled strength a little bit. It was time for the Bell Gargoyles. My Divine Mace did extremely well against the Bell Gargoyles. At 258 attack rating, I was hitting the Gargs for over 180 a pop. They went down relatively easy. After the Gargs, I popped all my available souls I had and began leveling Vitality. I was going to need all the help I could get for the Capra Demon. My mighty Divine Mace also did very well against the Capra Demon. Still at 258 attack rating, the Capra Demon was taken out in only 5 light attacks. Very good. Looking promising. I made my way through the depths. Took a short break to dunk on Knight Kirk, then went back up to the bonfire to level. Gaping Dragon was next on the chopping block. Nothing notable to report on Gaping Dragon. He's still a damage sponge as per usual. The Gaping Dragon kill was a stark contrast to my Gaping Dragon kill from last week's video with my Black Knight Halberd. It was time for Blighttown, my favorite town. I arrived in Blighttown and was promptly met by Mildred. She took a couple fat bonks from Old Reliable and went down. I wanted to farm the slugs here since they have a chance to drop 5 green Titanite shards, and I wanted to get my mace to +5 before I would try Quelaag. With 10 green Titanite shards in hand, I went and upgraded my Divine Mace to +5. Time to see what Quelaag thinks about this. Quelaag was also a great fight. I'm now sitting at 355 attack rating. I was hitting Quelaag's dumb bug head for 148 a pop. I conserved Estus and used the light to heal like a good little paladin. I rung the second belt and then headed back up to the surface. It stinks down here. After arriving at the Undead Parish, it was time for Sen's Fortress. I hate Sen's Fortress more than Blighttown, so I gave this place the old speed run. My opinion is, like, with Blighttown, you can always get better at it through platform navigation and whatnot. But Sen's Fortress, you just get worse over time. You can have it down one playthrough, the next one, you're just dying constantly. Iron Golem was in need of being purged. Damage on Iron Golem was feeling good. He's weak against strike damage because of his heavy armor. And you best believe my Divine Mace is strike damage. No Westus this fight. Divine healing only. I arrived in Anor Londo and used all my souls I had in reserve. I didn't know what to expect on Ornstein and Smo, but I knew I was going to be able to get Grant after I dealt with these two bozos. At 30 faith and 34 strength, I was now able to two-hand Grant. Ornstein and Smo went very well. I was sitting at 360 attack rating, and the Divine Mace was hitting Ornstein decently hard. Ornstein also gets staggered after 2 light attacks due to the high poise damage of the Hammer class. I noticed this fight how much I've grown accustomed to fast rolling. My first 2 playthroughs ever, I just medium rolled since I thought that was enough. But as of playing Dark Souls again over the past few months, I've always been fast rolling. Uther ain't fast rolling in these feeble bones though, so we're gonna stay medium rolling. Smo went down with ease as well. I acquired the big vessel and leveled up. Since I was meeting the stat requirements for Grant, I started leveling my endurance. A proper Paladin should have some endurance. I needed to clear through the catacombs prior to getting to Paladin Leroy, who drops Grant. Pinwheel needs to be taken out. Pinwheel dropped like a fat sack of bricks. 5 hits was enough to drop his sad sack. It was time for the Tomb of Giants. I arrived at the first bonfire and pumped my vitality a bit. Anymore, navigating Tomb of Giants with no lights is no problem. This is the 3rd time I'm doing this. Since Uther is a protector of the weak, Rhea of Thurland is helpless in a gully nearby. I made it a point to let Patches kick me down there to save her. I took out the 2 clerics who have gone hollow and saved her. I've been duped by Patches so little times, I thought I was going to be able to forgive Patches like you can in Dark Souls 3. He's a little weasel though, and just got hostile when I approached him, so I had to put him down too. After dealing with Patches, there's nothing in between me and Paladin Leroy now. I went to the seaside cave entrance and was invaded. I made sure to be super careful he doesn't fall off the edge. My first ever New Game Plus playthrough, I wanted Grant. I played through half the game, kicked him off the edge, and didn't realize you couldn't loot Grant after that. So this is actually the first time I'm even using this weapon. The old chum took some mighty hits from my Divine Mace and fell to my feet. I homeward boned on out prior to Nito. I wanted to upgrade this thing. Nito was such a blast with Grant. Being a Paladin, I'm in my element here. Skeletons, evil, big bad men, all must be purged from these lands. The skeletons were no issue since Grant deals divine damage. That means they can't resurrect. My attack rating is at 675 now, and I was crushing Nito. He was taking 450 damage just for a light attack. The Paladin armor's down here as well. I was able to secure it while running away from one of the blast waves. Nito dropped very quickly. I used all my souls I had saved up and leveled up the old vitality once again. With Nito down, I wanted to get Bed of Chaos out of the way. Mr. Discharge went down easy as well. I still don't understand this guy's attack animations. I know his 2 wind-up attacks and that's about it. If it's not one of those 2, I just get hit. Kirk! Don't we talked about this? Get out of here! Fire Sage is up next, fellas. I'm realizing the Demon Fire Sage, instead of dodging attacks, it's just easier to run away. This is especially true with a build that doesn't have fast rolling. Millimeter Peter's up next. This boss sucks so bad. Absolute bollocks. Luckily, he takes a ton of damage from my Hammer of the Lightbringer. That's Uther's weapon. Big damage at 675 attack rating. Everyone's favorite boss is now on the chopping block now. Bed of Chaos. I hate Bed of Chaos so much, but honestly, this was a clean kill. This is the cleanest I've ever done it without the firebomb cheese method or just throwing stuff at the weak spots to damage him. The Paladin needs to go back to training his faith if he wants to be lore accurate, that's for sure. Let's go to the Duke's Archive for Seath. Damage on Seath is looking alright. Nothing crazy. He's fairly resistant to magic damage, so he's not taking much of Uther's divine powers. I popped the rest of the souls I had stored up and leveled faith a little more. With Seath down, 4 kings were up next. I made it all the way to that Abyss Tower for the 4 kings, went to put on my Covenant of Artorias, and realized I never did Sif. Amazing! I also didn't have enough souls to buy the Crest of Artorias, so I just went to the Stray Demon instead. Damage on the Stray Demon was looking exceptionally well. Light attacks were doing well over 500 damage. Running attacks were doing well over 600 damage. Not bad. Not bad at all. Now that I had some souls, time to purchase the Crest of Artorias. I scooped it up for my boy, Andre. Sif is trying to do the right thing. He doesn't want us to have that old ring off him. But the Hammer of the Lightbringer was chunking Sif. I was doing 1/6 of his health pool with just a light attack. Now that we got the Covenant of Artorias, now we can do 4 kings. Just kidding, out of spite, I went to the Painted World instead. I have to have a word with little Jerry here. He started acting up. I'm getting a big head on him. Put him in his place. Not even the Undead Dragon's dookie throw up is enough to stop my purge of the Painted World. I had this fantastic idea with Priscilla. I was going to use the iconic Force ability to force Priscilla out of stealth. She wasn't having it. She just dunked on me the first time. I don't even know if you could take her out of stealth with that. After that, I used my Hammer of the Lightbringer's special heavy attack, which is a huge AoE that deals a bunch of damage. It pulled her right out, and we had no issue taking her out then. I went back to the Big Londo to level up my faith even further. I used all my Twinkling Titanite on my armor as well, since I wasn't using these materials for anything else. A proper paladin should be taking care of his plated armor. I knew the 4 kings was going to be interesting to say the least, because I needed to take off Havel's ring for the Covenant of Artorias. This means I was going to have heavy load and be fat rolling. This also means I'm not dodging anything and I'm just going to eat all the hits. That being the case, 4 kings went relatively smoothly. I was easily passing the damage check, hitting for well over 500 damage a hit at 730 attack rating. With the 4 main bosses down, it was time for a little DLC action. The Sanctuary Guardian did give me a little trouble. The damage wasn't amazing, but he has a relatively small health pool. The trouble comes from he moves so much. It was almost impossible to get a follow-up attack due to the speed of the Great Hammer class. Anyway, with the Sanctuary Guardian down, it was time for Big Artie. He was up next. At a big 731 attack rating, I was hitting Artorias hard for over 400 damage. He has high magic resistance, but my strike damage was hitting him hard. I didn't have any major issues connecting with Artorias. He doesn't move all that much. Knocking him out of his self-buffing phase only took 2 hits. That was no issue at all. I struggled to dodge a lot because once again I'm used to fast rolling anymore. So I ate some hits. Big Daddy Manus is up next for Judgment. Manus is highly resistant to magic damage and has normal resistance to physical strike. I wasn't hitting him hard at all. I was hitting him for under 300 damage a blow. I think Manus was easier in my last lore accurate video when I was fighting him as Rocky using the case deuce only to kill him. Between medium rolling, slow weapon speed, no stagger, low damage, this fight was a bit of a rough one. Unless I was already moving, it was also really hard to dodge that flurry combo attack. I almost got caught every single time by that second hand. I did summon the light a few times to get me through it and come to my aid. Now that Manus is down, there's only one logical boss next. You thought I was going to Gwen, huh? I got caught in my last video skipping Calamite, so we're not going to do that again. I've only done Calamite twice in my life, so I didn't know what to expect. We'll see how this goes. I spoke with Hawkeye Gao, and he picked Calamite clean out of the air. Calamite's weak to strike damage, and you guessed it, highly resistant to magic damage. Who would have known? We were hitting him for only 250 damage a pop. What's going on? I slogged through this one. I remember my first playthrough, I thought the Obsidian Greatsword was absolutely busted, so I spent like 3 hours trying to cut his tail off. Calamite wasn't too bad. I was able to dodge most of attacks, even with medium rolling. Now it's time for Gwen. This is the last fiend that would need to be purged from these lands. Gwen moves very fast, attacks very fast, and is very aggressive, which punishes my equip load along with long recovery times when I swing my hammer. I have a few things on my side. He does get staggered from 2 light attacks from me, and he's taken big damage from my weapon since his magic resistance isn't very high, and same with strike resistance. When I was able to connect with him, I was hitting him for anywhere between 480 to almost 700 damage in a single swing. One thing I was doing, I was absolutely eating his grab attacks left and right. I think I ate 3 of them this fight. I saw it fit to take him out with a proper purging attack from my weapon. I sent him back to the Northern Undead Asylum. I sent him back to character creation. With Gwen down, I went to go see Framp, ask what's up. I had a great time making this playthrough. It was less of a challenge run than my previous 2, but still fit a desirable mold for me. I don't think this video is going to do all that well since I'm referencing a completely different game, but I'm okay with that. This video was a bit of a passion project. What lore accurate characters would you guys like to see? I have a couple in my backlog right now from you guys giving me ideas, but I'd love to hear what other ideas you have. Thank you guys for all the support, and I'll see you around.